So this video is going to compose the demonstration section for sentences level 4. Now just a reminder, we've been learning the different complexities of how to write correct formulas, the correct sentence formulas. And we've just had a video laying out these three new types of sentences: that clauses, which clauses, and removable clauses. We could add a little bit more data here that these are the restrictive, um, relative clauses. And that's when you want to add information to the clause that is essential. Once it's joined into the main idea, the writer is trying to tell us it's really important and it shouldn't be separated from the main idea. With which clauses, however, these are the non-restrictive. These are just the grammar names. I try to simplify things, but the key point here with which clauses is that they are non-essential information, it's extra, and it can be removed without really altering the core idea too much. And finally, the last little bit here are removable phrases. These can be simply words, phrases, or complete ideas. And as we learned yesterday, they can be placed between the subject noun and the main verb, or they can also live, when we're writing a larger sentence, they can live in a compound, for example. They would come after the linking word, our coordinate conjunction, the fanboys. Okay, so let's take a look at some example writing here. Sometimes it's good to see things built in a live environment, even though once this video is recorded, it's bottled and it's no longer live. But I'm writing now and I'm building it now, so it's live for me. So that means that I'm in my process of writing. And remember, writing does take time, so sometimes you have to sit and you have to let the thought come to you. As we learned in the video that demonstrated these structures yesterday, or I made the video yesterday. You might be watching the video directly after you've watched the information push video. But there are two main ways to do this. The first way, they will have a kind of a complete looking sentence, and then we'll add a that clause afterwards. Okay, so the girl drank the soda that her father gave her. We've got a complete idea at the beginning. The girl, our subject noun, drank, that's our verb. The soda, that's the object that she's drinking, that her father gave her. So our that clause comes afterwards. And there's kind of two main ways that you can write it. You can write it with the that clause, with the that marker, the that word, or a relative restrictive clause marker, acting as the linking word, just the linking word. Or you can also have it where it plays a double role. And in the second version, so maybe I'll actually do, yeah, I'll revise it to show that example as well. So in this case, we've written it in such a way that the word that is actually doing a double duty here. So it's the linking word that joins the that clause into the main sentence, but it's also kind of a place marker that is playing the role of the subject noun at the same time. And you'll find that language is flexible, so both options are available or possible, and both are correct. I like the first one better, so I'm just going to change it back. Okay, good. Let's do one more. And now this second version is even more common. It's one of the most common writing structures in the English language. And what we actually have is we have a subject noun and a verb, and then the verb directly after the verb, we kind of bury another clause in the sentence, and that clause will be marked with the word that. You can also hear that sometimes like saying that clause, and there's one of the cool things, or you could say frustrating things about language. I think it's cool, but that's because I like languages, is words can play multiple different roles in any given sentence. And this is what makes it challenging, because in one sentence you might be saying, oh, that we just learned about these special new ideas called that clauses. So whenever I see the word that, it must be starting a that clause. No, slow down. That's not necessarily true. The word that can play multiple different roles in different settings, right? So I'll give you an example. So this sentence, oh, there, put a spelling mistake in there to confuse things further. This sentence, we have two that's. So we've got our relative clause marker here, but earlier in the sentence I used the word that, meaning, hey, that car over there, right? In this case, it's acting as it's performing a different job, right? So it's indicating I want to talk about that car, right? And so in that case, it's called a demonstrative pronoun. It's demonstrating which car I'm asking about. And always there's a grammar term that indicates which role the word that you're looking at is playing. As we dig into the language, we learn that these complexities exist, right? And you kind of have to remain open-minded. But let's try to simplify things a little bit more for our purpose of demonstration here. Sometimes I get excited talking about language, and I can realize that, oh, they might think that that is only used for this one job, but it's got that other job too. Then I try to explain both of them at the same time. But let's take a look here. So okay, so we can see this is a more standardized use of the that clause, and you see it comes directly after the main verb in the sentence. So we've got our subject, then we've got our main verb, which is in the past tense, and then directly after, we've decided we need more information to talk about, to reveal, to elucidate what the researchers discovered. So the researchers discovered that the rare element was present in abundance on the strange island. Tells us more details about their discovery. Okay, so let's move forward, because we've got to keep these videos relatively short in order to make them attainable for our learners. So we're moving to the next type of new clause. Again, which clauses are also used to add extra information, but it's non-restrictive, and so they are adding non-essential information. And the big difference between the two structures, as you'll notice, when we use a that clause, there's no comma, because it's essential. You're really fusing the ideas together here, fusing them onto the main clause, and so they don't need a comma to join them in. However, down below with which clauses, they will always use a comma, and they're non-essential, and therefore they can be removed without changing the main idea. So Thomas rode his bike, comma, which his grandmother gave him. So you can see that I've used it in a somewhat similar way, almost as a parallel to sentence one here. So you might ask, well, why? Why does the which clause work in one case and that clause works in the other case? Well, the answer is the writer gets to choose. And this is how you establish your voice as a writer. If you think it's an essential idea, use a that clause. If you think it's extra and unessential and you could remove it, use a which clause. You get to choose. as I've mentioned in the other video time and again, you can actually add these types of sentences to these additional clauses to any of our sentence structures. So here, I chose to add a second clause. I'll just mark it with a little color change there. So the police roared through the town with their lights flaring, comma, but the robbers snuck away, which was a surprise. So again, we've started it with a comma. That's the correct use. And yeah, excellent. All right, we'll move to the last examples here. So we're looking at removables. And remember, removable phrases are also additional information. They can be a single word, they can be a phrase, or a complete idea. And these are parachuted into the sentence, and they have commas on both sides. Okay, Rudolph was sad, poor Rudolph, comma, but because he loved Santa, comma, he kept trying to make the reindeer team. So you can see in this case, we have our two removable phrases, and they both tell extra information, but they're non-essential, right? And you do see that we've surrounded them by commas on both sides. Now, it's often the removable phrases that can cause some confusion about how commas work to join ideas together, which sometimes we see that students want to throw commas all over the place in their sentences. There are rules, there are guidelines, there are kind of the methods that work, and these phrases kind of muddy the waters. So use them sparingly and carefully. Okay, that's our video for today. And it is our second lesson. So sentences level 4 demonstrations. And good luck. Don't forget your homework, part of your practice homework. You should try to write 3 of each of these new structures. Okay, so 3 that clauses, 3 which clauses, and 3 removable words, phrases, or clauses. Excellent. Good luck.